Hello, and welcome to the My Old Car video log, where I document how I maintain, repair, and occasionally make upgrades to my 1974 Chevrolet Monte Carlo that's been my daily driver since 1984. With dedication and tenacity, you too can make your first car your forever car and drive it forever. Before I get started, I encourage you to please read the description of this video for details such as links, part numbers, etc. Furthermore, if you like my videos and find them useful, please subscribe. Now, this is a follow-up to a video I did a couple of years ago, which I've linked to in the upper right corner of this video and in the description. And the issue is when the AC is turned on, the idle drops, and then when the car is in gear, the idle could drop so low to where it's about to stall. Now, the easiest solution is to simply increase the idle to accommodate, or right here at the idle screw to adjust for when the idle is, or rather when the air conditioning compressor is turned on. The only problem with that is when the AC is turned off, the idle goes up really fast. The solution the manufacturer came up with, which I implemented a couple of years ago in the video I mentioned, was to repurpose the idle stop solenoid and have it become what they call an air conditioning idle compensation solenoid. Let me get this on here real quick. Now, unfortunately, this solenoid isn't strong enough to actually move, make sure choke's open, so move the throttle. So it's only strong enough to actually hold it open, but it's not strong enough to move it. Observe. When it cycles on and off, especially if you have a CCOT, a air conditioning system, this is just this is pretty much unacceptable, because you're always going to have to tap the throttle. I mean, it gets really annoying really fast. A better option to the solenoid is to repurpose a Throttle Return Control system, commonly used on GMC and Chevrolet trucks with California emissions from the mid-70s well into the 80s. Now, how the TRC system works is not really all that important. It's irrelevant to what we're doing now. What's important to know is that the throttle control lever actuator, also called a carb throttle stop unit, go figure, or a throttle kicker, is actually strong enough, to move that throttle lever. Let's install this thing and show you what it looks like, how it works, and how it can do this. I'm going to use a vacuum pump to kind of demonstrate this. Oh, come on, get on there. There we go. There's a handheld pump. Now, watch this. You see how it moves it? Release vacuum. Let's watch this again. Look at that. That's just fucking cool. There. Now, the TRC's vacuum control valve solenoid, which looks a lot like this, will control manifold vacuum to this, and all you need to do is just wire this in to the AC clutch, so that way this thing energizes and then it sends manifold vacuum to this. Now, one of the things that's kind of cool with this sort of throttle, compensating device is that it'll work regardless of how radical the cam is, as long as you also have a auxiliary vacuum pump system. So yeah, this is an option that seems promising. Now, a fourth option is to repurpose the timing control valve solenoid, oh man, that's a mouthful, from a timing control system, TCS, used on 1970s GMs with manual transmission. Now, how the TCS works is irrelevant for what we're doing. What's important to know is the heart of the system is this valve, which switches the vacuum source that goes to the distributor between the ported vacuum and manifold vacuum when it's de-energized or energized respectively. Now, this option would only work if the engine is tuned with the distributor vacuum advance connected to ported vacuum from the carburetor, which is on this carburetor is right here. Now, at curb idle, there is no vacuum going to the distributor with this with this setup. And all things being equal, with this thing tuned as it is, if you simply switch the vacuum source to the carburetor from from ported to manual, it would increase the RPM to compensate for the drop in engine RPM when the AC is turned on. This all sounded, a little too good to be true, so I had to do some rudimentary testing, which really showed some promise. So I acquired this solenoid, and I'm going to see about installing it so that way I can actually administer some real-world testing. Now I need, I want this to be discreet when I mount this. So I'm going to mount it. Oops, I don't know if you can really see it, but I'm going to mount it right here. And as it is now, it's not going to work well. And I need it to be kind of low so that way it'll also clear the air cleaner. So what I'm going to need to do is take a little bit of this bracket and see about fabricating an adapter so that way I can get this mounted. So let me go about fabricating this bracket. I'll be right back. All right, bracket's fabricated. Goes this way, like that, and then sits on top of there like that, and that should keep it clear of anything, and also provide me with plenty of clearance for the air cleaner. So let's go ahead and get this thing bolted up. All right, here we are. Let's see about getting this thing installed. I'm at the risk of being redundant. The coil in here for the solenoid, neither of these ends is grounded to the body, so I had to make a grounding terminal. Let me go ahead and hook that up before I bolt this in. Come on, there we go. All right, now this end right here, this is a ported vacuum. Let me see about getting the hookup for that. Oh, come on. There you are. This here is manifold vacuum. There's a port up here on the carburetor for that goes to manifold vacuum. This is a manifold vacuum port. This one is too, but this one seems to be better for this purpose because this, I don't know, this angle here doesn't look like it would be very very helpful. So let me go ahead and get this plugged in. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to plug in the distributor vacuum first. Let's see. Here we go. Alright, now the distributor vacuum is down underneath here. You may or may not be able to see this, but it is underneath on the bottom. We'll plug that in. There we go. Now I put in the manifold vacuum. Alright, everything looks like it's hooked up. And now it's time for power. Last but not least. This is the power that had previously been hooked up to the how's it called? Dang it, let me move this out the way. Yeah, so this had been powering the solenoid, the idle stop solenoid. Whoops, damn it. Oh boy. There we go. And now the power on the upper terminal. There we go. Let's make sure that this is tight. Now I'm only installing this. See how well it's going to work. And then if it works, I'm going to be putting some Loctite on that nut. But yeah, it's all hooked up. Let's see how it works. I've been driving this for the past week and it's worked out beautifully. Look at the tach. I'm parked and the AC is off. Now watch the tach as I turn on. Pretty much negligible. And I'm going to turn it off. The change in the tach is negligible. Alright, now with the transmission in gear, the real litmus test. Pay attention. Now to turn the AC on. Watch the tach. Practically no change. Now to turn it back off. No change. It's practically seamless. Look at that. Practically seamless. Oh, I love it. Yeah, furthermore, I've been keeping an eye on my temperature gauge over this past week. And, as I figured, the engine's running just a little cooler. Final thoughts on this. As you can tell, you know, the that solenoid valve, that vacuum solenoid valve, or valve solenoid, is nice and discreet. In any case, this fourth option seems to work really well with stock to mild cams. Now I'm running a comp cam number 12-422-8, which is probably the biggest cam that will allow this method to work. The more radical the cam, the less vacuum the engine will make, hence the less likely it is to work. Anyway, so with a heavy cam, the third option, which is the that vacuum operated you can't really call it a solenoid, a kicker, that's what they call it. So anyway, yeah, with a heavy cam, the third option coupled with an auxiliary vacuum pump would probably be the best option. So there you have it. Thanks for coming along with me on this journey. If you enjoyed the video and found it useful, please be sure to click the like button. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think it's time for a drive.